A ticket hits the board. The assignment is clear. You grab it, open your code editor, and immediately start typing. It is the standard workflow. You receive a task, and you dive straight into technical execution. This document outlines what we call feature thinking. It is a mindset that prioritizes very narrow, implementation-focused questions. You ask, what screen should I build? What API do I need to create? Where exactly does this button go? The code you produce from this mindset can be flawless. It can be perfectly tested, instantly deployed, and technically brilliant. But all of that effort is wasted if the end result sits entirely unused, because it fails to solve a real human problem. The stakes for developers have shifted. We now work alongside coding agents capable of handling vast amounts of boilerplate logic. If your only value is translating a highly specific instruction into syntax, you are competing directly with those agents. To survive and thrive, a full-stack developer must step back before writing a single line. Instead of blindly building what was requested, you have to investigate why the software should exist and how it actually creates value. You have to adopt product thinking. Let's look at how this works in practice by analyzing a common, flawed feature request. Say a ticket comes in asking you to add AI. The immediate technical instinct is to start researching large language models. A product-minded developer hits the brakes. They refuse to write AI integration code on day one. Instead, they initiate a pre-code interrogation to figure out what is actually broken in the current workflow. Look at this breakdown of the real issues behind that AI request. The problem might not be a lack of automation. It could be priorities are unclear, or founders spend too much time in planning. Once you identify those underlying causes, you map them directly to the people experiencing the friction. You ask what the user is currently doing, where exactly they feel pain, and what specific change would genuinely make their daily work easier. Then, you evaluate potential fixes against the business reality. A proposed solution must prove its worth. If it doesn't clearly save time, reduce risk, or increase revenue, it is a vanity project. Ruthlessly identifying the actual disease, rather than treat a surface-level symptom, protects the entire engineering team. It prevents you from wasting weeks building a highly complex technical solution that nobody actually needed. Once a real problem is validated, the next step is applying extreme scoping. You need to discover the smallest useful version of a solution, the absolute minimum required to create value or provide a learning opportunity. This BDE pipeline comparison shows why this matters. The full vision is massive, but the smallest useful version is brutally constrained. Capture the lead, track status, and show overdue follow-ups. This smaller version validates the workflow before expanding. This leads to a mandatory strategic pause. Before writing any code, you must evaluate whether you even need to build a custom solution. You might be able to adapt an open-source tool, use a third-party service, or rely on a temporary manual process. Technical restraint, choosing to write less code, or deliberately choosing to write no code at all, is often the fastest and most effective path to delivering actual product value. When you move into the execution phase, product thinking actively guides the technical choices you make across every single layer of the stack. This checklist outlines strict AI criteria, proving it improves speed and defining human review for errors. Moving down to the UX layer, the focus shifts to eliminating user friction, prioritizing information, and removing confusion. Even deep in the back end, product thinking applies. You must ask what data will matter a year from now. What events need tracking? Do you need an audit history? What future integrations should this architecture support without early over-engineering? Every layer, from database schemas to UI components, must directly serve the user's end goal. None of it exists to cater to a developer's personal technical preferences. Hitting deploy is just the starting line. A product-minded approach demands objective, real-world proof that what you built actually worked. This list shows the empirical metrics required to validate a feature. You look for hard numbers: task completion times, error rates, support requests, and points of user drop-off. If you are building an early-stage product and lack deep analytics, there is a clear fallback protocol. You strictly document your assumptions up front, and you deliberately design mechanisms to learn from user behavior the moment it goes live. The contrast from the default workflow is stark. You are no longer an isolated code factory, silently taking orders. You are a strategic, indispensable partner, actively evaluating risks and guiding the product's direction. Your highest purpose is not outputting code. Your purpose is engineering living products that solve real-world problems, build user trust, and continuously evolve.